Some of them include paintings or statues that ooze real 100% pure olive oil, and they can't find the source of the olive oil. No one can explain where it's coming from. People are being healed by this olive oil. There are statues, especially statues, that bleed real human blood. It has the platelets removed. It doesn't have any platelets in it so that it won't clot up, but it keeps bleeding. They have done everything to these statues, and I've seen pictures of these statues, and they have x-rayed them. They have done everything they can. They've taken them apart to try and find the source of this real human blood that's coming oozing from these statues that are crying blood out of their eyes, some of these statues, and they can't find the source of it no matter what they do. So there are statues and paintings. There are photographs. I saw one photograph. Someone took a picture of a beautiful rose bush, and when they took the film in and it was developed, there was an image in front of that rose bush of the Madonna, of Mary, standing in front of that rose bush. There have been many, many pictures over the years taken out of airplanes, taken by pilots, taken by flight attendants, taken by passengers, of cloud formations. And these people aren't looking to get famous. Nobody's making any money off this. But they take these pictures, and most of them show a Christ-like image in the clouds. And it's unmistakable. You cannot mistake what that image is. It's very, very clear, these images that people are photographing in the clouds. And no one can explain these images, how they could be so crystal clear and show up. This is one of my favorite unexplained events that's a spiritual event. There's a huge 4-story tall glass building in Clearwater, Florida. It's a bank building. It's called the Seminole Finance Building in Clearwater, Florida. And about 2 or 3 days before Christmas, I believe it was 3 years ago, people were driving by, people were coming to work, and in the front of this building, 4 stories tall, all of a sudden was this full color image of Mary, of the Madonna. And she's there from about the waist up with her head down a little bit, and it's clear as a bell. I mean, it is crystal clear. There's no mistaking what this image is. And it just showed up one day, right before Christmas. Out of nowhere, this image appeared. People stopped. It was on ABC News. It was on CNN. It was broadcast on all the major networks. There were people coming from all over the world once this got out to see this image of Madonna on the side of the building. The line of cars was backed up 7 miles long trying to get in there. And the parking lot was crowded, yet everyone was calm. The traffic police were calm, and it was very quiet. People brought books and statues and candles, and some of the people showed up with nothing, just with tears in their eyes, looking at this image. And the owner of the building finally set aside, it's still there. The image is still there on the side of the building. It can even be seen at night. And the owner of the building finally set up a fenced-off area with benches and so on, so that people can come and meditate and just be there with this sacred image. And it is really amazing, and it's there to this day. There is an really incredible thing that's happening with windows, glass windows that are dimpled. They're kind of like the bathroom windows that you can't see through, the dimpled glass. What's happening, it started in a little town outside of Los Angeles called El Monte. And as light shines through this glass, one day crosses appear in the glass. Not the high T-bar Christian cross, but more an even-armed, more universal cross has been appearing in these glass windows. It started in El Monte several years ago. This was in the newspapers all over the place. This one particular neighborhood, people were walking by this person's bathroom window, and these are relatively poor Hispanic homes in El Monte, and many of them have the bathroom lit by a bare bulb inside. And they walk by this bathroom window and they look up, and all of a sudden they see, did you know that you have a cross of light in your bathroom window? There's a cross in that window. And they come out and they take a look and they go, I had no idea. Look at that. There sure enough is a cross in there. And these crosses started spreading throughout the neighborhood. First they appeared in one house, then another, then another, then another, and pretty soon there were over a dozen homes, I believe actually it was over 20 homes in El Monte that got crosses of light in these windows. And no one could explain them. No one knows where they came from. And they're very kind about showing people the windows when people come. They finally had to set up bus tours for the people who were coming to see these crosses of light. And so they would be very kind, and they would show them the crosses of light in the windows, and it was absolutely amazing. An interesting thing happened. They decided it would be a good idea to take one of these windows out, take the cross out, and put it in the neighborhood church. And they thought that would be a very nice thing to do, so they did. They took the cross out, they put it in the church, and they put candles behind it, flashlights behind it, candles behind it, everything they could think of to try and get that cross. The cross would not appear. They took it back home from the church, put it back in the window, boom, cross of light appeared back in there. So clearly, these crosses of light are not meant to be captured by any one church or any one religious group. They are meant for everybody. So there are crosses of light. These crosses of light have now spread all across America, across Canada. They're in the Philippines, Japan. They're across Europe, Australia, New Zealand. They're everywhere. I have a cross of light. I have gotten a cross of light in my bathroom window. Not because I'm special, but simply because they're crossing the world. They're everywhere. And so you might want to check your frosted dimpled glass with a flashlight and see if you have a cross of light in your home. Many people are claiming that they are receiving healings from these crosses of light. The neighborhood changed completely in El Monte. The crime rate went down. Rambunctious teenagers suddenly settled down and became model citizens. Just incredible things have been happening where these crosses of light have been appearing. There's one church that I know of that has crosses of light. Actually, they've taken them out now, but it's a church just outside of Knoxville, Tennessee. Very small church with 5 windows. And this church, one day, the sun came up during a morning service, and boom, crosses of light appeared in these huge church windows. These are huge crosses of light. They look like they're out over the lawn and about 40 feet high. And just out of nowhere, these crosses of light suddenly appeared in these church windows. Well, my goodness, the word, it was on all the networks, all the news. The word got out. Within the next few months, over 40,000 people came from all over the world to see these crosses of light. Many people claimed healings. There were blind people there that came running out of the church yelling, "I can see, I can see." A mother went in there with her 2 children, carrying her 2 young children, 4 or 5 years old, who were born deaf. While they were in the church, she took them in there to be in the presence of these crosses of light. While they were in the church, a plane, again, I have done everything I can to confirm that these reports are true. A plane flew very low over the church, made a very loud noise, and the children covered their ears. And the mother started to cry because she realized that they could hear now. And so there are stories like this. There was a woman from Indiana who was in Knoxville on other business and heard about the church. She had a brain tumor, an inoperable, cancerous brain tumor. She heard about the church. She went to the church, looked at the crosses of light. When she went home, she went back to the doctor. They couldn't find the tumor. She's been healed. I actually saw the tape of the interview with that particular woman. So there are miraculous things happening across the world with these crosses of light. There's a man in the Philippines. Now there are healers, certainly. This man prays for people and many people are healed. But an interesting thing happens. When he prays for them, he puts a rose petal on their shoulder. A white rose petal, a red rose petal. Just a simple plain rose petal on their shoulder. He prays for them. Many people are healed. And then after he's done praying, he gives them the rose petal as a token to remember the moment. When they look at the rose petals now are imprinted with sacred images. Images of John the Baptist, images of the Madonna, St. Francis of Assisi. Detailed images in these roses. No one can explain. They have watched him. They have tried to figure out how this happens. No one can explain how these images show up in these roses.